Welcome back to beautiful Guangzhou and the Guangzhou Gymnasium as we get ready for Game 2 of Misfits versus SKT Telecom T1. Game 1, pretty quick. I'm sure Misfits didn't have much to think about, but Game 2, and that's where their eyes are focused.
Yeah, exactly. Misfits needs to be able to completely reset, forget that first game, make a few changes in the pick and ban phase. Really want to see them get rid of Galio and Jace. Now they are on blue side.
A lot of people are with you there.
Of course, you got to ban another 20 champions if you want to get rid of all the best ones, but at least target the very important ones, which is now Galio and Jace.
Well, and I think it's just target the ones that can make SKT have an easy early game, right? That can shut down your aggression. If this is the way in, then you can't have losing lanes. You can't have Galio who can shut down your plays all across the map. And Huni just had such a strong early game in combination with FLICKR and the roams that he had. It really snowballed this game for
Exactly. They played around him so well in the early game. It allowed Huni to spend 51% of his time in laning phase across the river, in the face of Alphari, near Alphari's tower. That is a crazy number. It's actually also funny enough Huni's average during the group stages, because every single game he's in the face of the enemy, but normally he doesn't get ganks. He just sits alone. This time he got ganks.
And to put that in context, the tournament average is about 30%.
Yes.
So he's massively above. He spends almost twice as much time as your average player at Worlds does across that middle line,
So there
being
you go.
aggressive. And
You can really mess with Huni if you just keep him on his side of the map. You just get right.
That's the key.
That's the key.
If you can just actually kill him and shut him down, if there's no Galio who can maybe stop you from doing it, let's see Misfits adaptations coming into this game, because a lot needs to change. Not necessarily purely in the pick and ban phase, but also in the game itself. We saw a lot of individual mistakes, some nerves, honestly, from the players.
Starting off with the bans first, and there he is. Number 2 on the ban list for Misfits Gaming is Galio. We'll have to see. Another one I'm looking at is if that Orianna gets through for either of these mid laners as we continue with ban phase 1.
And I just want to see the Jace as well, if that gets banned or not. Yes, there we go. So Misfits agree with the caster desk, get rid of Galio Jace here. And one of the reasons the Jace is also annoying is it is still a flex pick. And the last pick and ban phase, as you guys can see on the screen here down at the bottom, we had Trundle, we had Galio, those were flex picks, they didn't know where they were going. The Jace came in as a surprise in the end, could have still gone to top lane, or sorry, to mid lane if needed, but then got swapped up top. So it was very difficult for Misfits to do anything in that draft.
also excited to see if Rakan is going to go over Misfits, and obviously it is not. So, will SK Telecom actually pick this up for Wolf? It has been such a strong pick for him. Very clearly that was a concern for Misfits going into game number 1.
And if we do get the Rakan, I want to see Thresh come in from IgNar's side. Try and shut down Rakan in the laning phase. Now, SKT might think the same, and therefore hesitate to pick it over for Wolf and just go a lot safer, which is what they're doing.
Taric locked in already as well. The Jarvan being a bit of a flex for them if they really want to throw it around. Huni has a few plays on that himself. Maxlore and PowerOfEvil now locking in with Capacity in the top lane, but that bot lane really necessary.
Yeah, give me Rakan here for IgNar. Like, it's a playmaking support. You build Ardent Sensor. I actually like it against Taric as well because your engage is so quick. It's hard for Taric to time his ulti. IgNar instead, though, going for just pure lane bully.
So we are assuming this is going to be IgNar, but there is the possibility. So there have been, talks of Karma top, of Karma mid, which did kind of get pushed out of the meta,
Very true.
Very quickly by split pushers. As even if you win early, it's very hard to do anything late if you can't group on Karma. But maybe Misfits is willing to kind of throw a wrench in the gears and try something like that.
A possibility. If they do put it down the bot lane, it's just a very strong pushing lane. So again, would also give them advantage in 2v2, which is what they're looking for. Keep highlighting the fact that Misfits need to win the early game. And that's a hover.
Caitlyn is still available, and they can just go right back to that. Caitlyn was very successful for them in the first game, but they are instead going to lock in Cho'Gath. And Cho'Gath, another pick, which really has been so effective here at Worlds.
Yeah, now they're able to ban away Trundle, take that away from Alphari. It's been one of his answers to Cho'Gath. Shen has been another popular pick for a lot of teams when they face the Cho'Gath, because then they can just use the Shen to TP away from the lane and snowball the other side of the map while Cho'Gath is scaling.
It's pretty interesting what SKT is doing here. Now Misfits has to say we either go back at Bang or we go at FLICKR now. And they have to decide FLICKR or Bang gets one of their champions at this point.
And to me, when you are already drafting Karma and you're assuming this is going bot lane with Tristana, you're already pushing, I think you should be targeting the AD carries, trying to get some sort of an advantage down on the bot side. And Sivir traditionally is used as an answer to Tristana, so this is interesting as an adaptation. Not something we've really seen picked or banned hardly at all at Worlds.
And SKT actually leave Trundle open. It's a great pick for Alphari up in top lane. Will give another good lane for Misfits to play around, or even leave to just play 1v1 and then let the Trundle just outtail in the split push game. I'm also looking at Twitch just because I think Bang's Twitch is so amazing in the late game. It's so difficult to play against, but this tells me that Misfits want Bang to pick a late game scaling champion, a champion that cannot win in the early game, and then Misfits can try and bully the 2v2 lane.
And I think that makes a lot of sense, right? Why worry about the late game of SKT? They're going to have an incredible late game. Whatever they pick, this team just plays so well around the map. They're so well coordinated. The best way for Misfits to win is going to be aggressive, to really get in their face, snowball these advantages. And against this Taric Kog'Maw, I think there will be opportunities for Misfits to do just that.
100%, especially if they have the Karma in the bot lane to just perma push to the tower, use Tristana's ability to kill towers early to try and snowball the game here. Now we still gotta wait and see if Karma will go mid or down to support. PowerOfEvil is the kind of person who's played Lulu and Karma in the past. It's a counter pick now top for Alphari, and he goes with Gnar and not the Trundle.
So why I think this makes sense, in perhaps a matchup that we would have is more even, I think Trundle makes a lot of sense, but it wins the game generally more slowly. It's through split push, it's through map play, it's through controlling your opponents and playing a more slow style game. Whereas the Gnar, I think, can have advantages over the Cho'Gath in the early stages and then can be a playmaker. You can TP down, you can get these big Mega Gnar ults that could perhaps turn around a game, and I think that's what they're looking for, and it is going to be the Karma mid, as I called out earlier.
So we have the Blitzcrank being locked in now. The Gnar, just before that, everything for Misfits says go forward. They take out the Sivir for lane control. They also take out the Sivir so they just don't get their fights run away from, and SKT can exit and be safe. This could be an awesome game for Misfits, but again, they have to act early as SKT finalize their last pick.
Yeah, and we do have to remember FLICKR. He has his pick of the litter. He has the counter pick here, knowing that it is the Karma. They leave him for last, and he selects the Corki. So we're gonna have to find out, how can PowerOfEvil hold up in this matchup when there is Jarvan, when there is this early ganking threat, and if he gets behind, Karma can sometimes really, really struggle, but does have good early game power.
Definitely very strong in the laning phase, and Corki's not that scary of a laner. He's much more focused on get Trinity Force, then start making plays, and of course scaling. So SKT have gone back to a draft we would see in the group stages, where it's a lot of scaling down the bot lane, in the mid lane as well, even in top lane for Huni in this game here. They don't really have any lanes where you're saying, wow, they have to win through this one lane in the early game. It's actually just play very safe, calculated, get your defensive vision. Everything is just screaming aggression from Misfits. Multiple lanes that can actually go aggressive and try and shut down SKT.
And I just think it's so smart, because you know that SKT is going to have this almighty late game. They're going to be so powerful. Go for a early game. Be super aggressive. And I think we're going to have to see a fantastic game from Maxlore, despite the fact that you have this Blitzcrank. I do think you still need the jungler to be proactive.
Yeah.
You need Maxlore getting involved, and that could be tough in the Jarvan versus Sejuani matchup.
SKT putting their foot down in game one. Misfits now realizing this is the real deal. Second quarterfinal matchup of SK Telecom T1 and Misfits Gaming heading into game two right now. And we are about to be on to the Rift. A reminder that all throughout the knockout stage, pentakills, Baron steals, activate the mystery gifting bonus. Increase your likelihood of rolling a legendary or esports skin. Pentakills and Baron steals. We'll see if any of those happen within the game. We do have that Kog'Maw. We do have two junglers that are very back and forth with getting those steals, or a team that'll give them up when ahead. So the chances, I feel, are quite high.
I really also want to see Alphari on the Gnar here, because I typically don't think Gnar is that great against Taric. It's very easy to see the Gnar engage when he's kind of jumping towards you and you time the Taric ulti with when Mega Gnar hits. It also doesn't synergize that well with Sejuani, because he's a ranged champion, at least in mini Gnar. So there is definitely some questions regarding that one, but also it comes down to comfort for Alphari. If he knows that, okay, he can actually get ahead in this lane phase, use this mid-game then to TP in with his Gnar, and then have the big Mega Gnar ultis on multiple members, well, that is a way then to actually get kills for Misfits.
Seeing the call in the mid lane start for FLICKR. Says we're going to go ahead and hang back, do what we can to farm. FLICKR as well, another champion that can get those side lane roams if he wants, get the package on, and he can be there in an instant. Peanut towards the top side is actually just a line of scrimmage here before teams even dip into each other's jungles to feed. See what's going on. A little bit of vision down towards the bot side as FLICKR can stay safe watching IgNar in the brush.
And we did see IgNar actually against TSM, I believe, level 1, go in, force the flash out of Bjergsen. So was looking to see if there was any opportunities for that play, but perhaps because of the research that SKT has done, they know to play very defensive, 4-man line of scrimmage around the blue buff. No chance of IgNar actually getting in there and stealing away the blue or forcing an early summoner. I think that just speaks so much to their preparation.
It's important to highlight that it's now the second time we see this Blitzcrank from IgNar here. The last time when they played it, all eyes on the bottom lane. We had jungle ganks, we had mid lane roams. They were playing around IgNar's Blitzcrank here, trying to force aggressive plays to see if you can get ahead early. Because again, you're not going to build the typical art sensor on your Blitzcrank. That's actually moved over to your mid laner, the Karma. But it will, of course, affect Karma's scaling going into the late game. She's not going to be that strong, at least not compared to a Corki. So it's very much get ahead early game for Misfits, snowball the game, and win before you go full late game.
And while the Karma herself won't be that strong, when you do have a mid lane Karma, if you can have that Ardent Sensor in the death cap as they're jumping in, and this could actually be...
Dazzler goes down, Wolf takes a hit, that's going to be an explosion down below 100 HP, but he's saved, and that's going to be the heal and flash for Wolf.
Ansama might have wanted to commit to that. I mean, one more auto, he actually gets that proc on the explosive shot, may have been the kill there, but he does hang on to both his summoners, and they have forced both of them out of Wolf.
They have so much pressure in the lane here. Blitzcrank just applies this non-stop pressure towards you whenever he moves past the minion wave. You know there's a chance he hooks you in. There could be a jungler there, or you take a bad trade because the enemy AD carry is ready. Let's see here. We get that first gank in the bot lane.
Oh, they have the ward down. TP coming in, and that is going to be big pressure. They get on to Bang. Now both of his are blown, and they are going to have to back up towards the side. It's going to be Maxlore going very low. He takes the tank first. First blood going over to Bang. He's still alive, but goes down to the explosive shot. A Cathian surprise won't do much damage, and Misfits make it out. The last Bang.
Yeah, Misfits trying to make a very aggressive play, but it goes so wrong for them, and SKT able to handle this. They took way too much damage on the initial play. Going in, IgNar's already pushed out, and Maxlore goes down so fast, and not only does SKT get first blood, they get 2 kills. They're both on the Kog'Maw, and that's going to be rough.
Yeah, Misfits actually want to kill Wolf here. There is no summoners on this Taric. He's level 2. He's very easy to burst down and then step away. But they get onto Bang with barrier and flash.
And just, it's way too early. I mean, PowerOfEvil was TPing in. He hadn't even arrived yet. They don't have the damage coordinated. The damage is not going down at the same time. And you need to be so pristine on these early game tower dives, because when you're level 2, level 3, 1 or 2 turret shots can completely destroy you.
Exactly, yeah. So the coordination not on point for Misfits, and this was the comp that needed to get ahead early. Yep. Down 500 gold now, 2 kills over to Bang, as you highlighted just before here. Still big CS difference, and there is still pressure for Misfits in the lane because Bang has no summoners. He will die very quickly if he gets hooked in.
And they need to continue that pressure now. That's the only way that you can really, you know, kind of get this back, because they did get a kill over on Hansama. He has a decent buy, and if they can continually make plays down here, and there's this couple-minute window where Bang is not going to have that flash, and you really can try to pick on him, but I feel like if you can't exploit him during these couple minutes, then it's going to be very hard to do so later.
But it's one of those tough mistakes to make in this early game, because you were trying to reset after the last game where everything went wrong. You're trying to mentally get ready for this one, actually get some momentum going for your team, and then the first play you make, it wasn't even necessarily an outplay from SKT. Bang just clicked barrier, then flash, and stood still and just shot at everyone right in front of him. They're like dying and just over-diving.
Peanut having eyes on Maxlore. We see IgNar throw out the hook there, knowing the junglers wouldn't be present on the bot side. Flag and drag over the Dragon Pit was missed, but Maxlore is just out of mana. He's going to need the team to help him out on this one. FLICKR just getting back to lane, so he won't be there. And just as Peanut can get back over the wall, he does so. Flash blown.
Yeah, smart that Peanut flashes behind that dragon as fast as possible so IgNar doesn't actually get him with the hook and pulls him right back in. So Peanut did stay alive, but again, lost that summoner spell. Maxlore, level 4 on this Sejuani, needs to go back and get full mana before he can do anything, but he needs to get right back out on the map. They have to make another play.
Yeah, they certainly do, because, I mean, so far in the top side, it's actually Huni that's getting the better of Alphari, but Alphari, man, level 6, Gnar.
Will be the solo. Misses the wallop, also misses the Q, and Huni's going to be able to walk out of this one. Alphari not really feeling it, not understanding what other pressure was going to be coming in.
Also good use of the minions there from Huni's side to step behind the minions so Alphari could not throw the house in his face.
And And you have to respect the fact that if you go up in melee range as that Gnar into the Cho'Gath, with the cannon minion hitting you, with the feast available, the damage can get turned around so quickly back on you.
Pushing in is Hansama. They still have a bit of control over this lane, and by that, 52-30 in CS. We have to realize what Bang has in kills, though. Kind of makes up for that for now. We'll have to see if they can fight back. Feeling good to go for a dazzle. They just miss and give Bang some time to farm under turret.
This is almost more important than kills for Misfits, the fact they keep getting damage on the bot lane tower. Because once you take down the first tower, again, you open up the map. Blitzcrank can start roaming more aggressively. Much easier to start getting deep vision in the enemy jungle. And that's where, out of nowhere, IgNar can show up in mid and suddenly create a pick for his team. So you gotta get down these outer turrets so quickly, and Hansama's #1 goal is just keep getting damage on this tower.
Huni goes to buy Glacial Shroud, sold, and now he picks up Ninja Tabi's, I should say resell, Ninja Tabi's Dark Steel and his refillable potion. So he decides to go for those boots first as he heads back to lane with Teleport.
I think it's pretty smart. It's a more defensive option, and when you're a team that already has such incredible scaling, such incredible late game, you don't need to kind of hedge your bets and try to get a little bit stronger of an early game thing. Just survive lane, scale up, make sure that Misfits can't get an enormous lead, and SKT will be in an incredible position if they are not down in gold.
Heading in, might get a chomp down if he gets the chance. Blows Alphari's flash in a 1v1 situation. Coming back to lane a bit stronger.
Now the hook.
The hook onto Wolf, gonna throw down the ignite immediately, means they want it. Dazzle comes back out, forces Hansama's flash. It's almost like they aren't considering everything in the fight before they go in and are coming out a little down.
Yeah, 2 flashes down now, both from Alphari and Hansama. Sure, of course, Wolf used both summoners just before here, but the fact he gets a flash in exchange is big for him. Maxlore, though, is trying to gank again.
And they do have the TP back up from PoE. They may try to go for this play one more time. Maxlore is moving over, but it seems like there is some hesitation on if they can try to make the play happen. And meanwhile, topside, SKT is going to look for the dive.
Athbar Alphari looking to get himself strong right onto Bang. That's going to be the barrier immediately. Cosmic Radiance as well to negate the
nice
damage.
hook.
Beautiful pull onto Bang. Hansama goes deep, and it's going to be the explosive shot to take down Bang.
Big plays in the bot lane here for Misfits, and they need these big plays right now. So important, and Hansama picks up the kill. Meanwhile, top lane, Alphari stayed alive because PowerOfEvil used a defensive TP.
That was so nicely done from Hansama, playing it so aggressive, getting the kill, getting out just barely with the heal. They will get the first turret with the CS advantage. With these kills on Hansama, there's starting to be some hope for Misfits.
It starts off as well in the bot lane, but the top lane gank did not work. SKT wastes a slight bit of time there. They knew where Peanut was, and they were able to go super hard on that bot lane gank. Seems like the communication is still on par for these guys, but it's only 2-2. It's 15.3 to 14.4, anybody's game.
Exactly, and they need to keep pushing the pace as they were trying to do down here. Maxlore makes the move, does nail the ultimate on the Kog'Maw. Very quick, Taric ultimate was dropped from Wolf, which I think gives SKT some confidence that they can fight this, but Bang, honestly, he should have been able to flash that hook.
That should have been an easy flash for Bang. We saw him do it the last time we had this tower dive here where he got 2 kills in return. This one here, he gets pulled in, takes a lot of damage first, and then, of course, Hansama can jump in and finish him up with some fancy moves here. We saw it yesterday, or sorry, last game between these two teams. Almost felt like yesterday by now. You know, there's a whole new day, whole new game.
It's in the past division.
It's in the past right now. 0-4 Hansama. Not a good game from him, but this one here, much better start.
Yeah, way better start. And, you know, as I was talking a little bit about earlier, while the Karma itself does not scale exceptionally well as far as the damage you're putting out, it does give you this super powerful support, essentially, because you have all this gold getting funneled into the Karma. You can complete your Chalice, your Ardent Censer, all these items much more early, and then you can get something like a Death Cap and have these super low cooldown, super powerful shields to allow Tristana to play aggressive.
It's all, again, screaming early to mid-game, because late game, it's all about Hansama's damage, and he's against a Jarvan and a Cho'Gath and a Taric stacking armor. It's going to take forever for him to kill anyone, so now with the early tower gone, Misfits need to make a decision here. Do they want to push up bot and take a Drake, or do they want to go straight towards mid and top lane and go for more turrets?
I actually really like this option here from Misfits. They're controlling vision on the bot side here from SKT. They're going to try to catch someone rotating over from mid lane.
But right now, SKT have no reason to rotate through their own jungle, because it's a lane pushed all the way to tier 2 tower for Bang, so he's just going to push it out. And Bang is never going to go down. He's like, I don't care about bot lane. That doesn't exist in my world. There's a Tower Drake. They're more than happy giving that over to Misfits.
I mean, for something like that to work, Misfits really needs to commit to actually pushing towards that tier 2. If Tristana wants to start towards sieging it, then you can make plays like that work. And it is risky to do so because, to your point, you know, they're not going to come over unless you really push up, and then that exposes you to package roams, to TPs from Huni, and from these sorts of plays. So it is risk versus reward, but either way, Misfits need to push the pace.
Yeah, exactly. And I really want to see them now push up bot lane, reset with this Tristana here, and then go towards the top side and secure another objective, because there's a tower. Once they kill that tower, there's a Rift Hell they gotta grab as well. You need everything in the early game if you're Misfits. Sadly for them, the Cloud Drake is not gonna help them too much in this game, other than actually the Blitzcrank trying to get in position to land a hook. That's where it could be useful for Misfits.
Got that karma speed.
There's a karma speed as well.
Gotta go fast. Misfits are ready to go fast this game. Like, it's basically everything they want to do. Keep the pace going. Keep it in their favor. The map opens up. It could become SKT's. Flash, it is going to be the grab. It is going to not be the kill. He gets out just in time, and FLICKR stays alive.
Barely surviving there, but again, not able to
fight to the top side. It's going to be Huni getting hit up hard. He does have those ninja tobbies to stop a bit of the damage. It's still going to be a 2v1 under the turret. Alphari still wants it because here comes Maxlore. It's just Peanut on the edge. Will he make it in time? Alphari tanks up first. IgNar's there as well as he speeds around the map to help the team. But now it's about getting Maxlore out. Can they help him? Cosmic Radiance and Cataclysm down onto him. And SKT get one back, but it's traded right back. Retribution kill coming in for Hansama.
And they're going to be able to push down this turret as well here, making plays across the map. They pull off the dive. FLICKR escapes. The Misfits are getting a lot of gold back.
A little bit more damage onto the turret. Bang's going to have to be very careful with this positioning. As you said, FLICKR still mid lane, and they're going to try to get some control there, but control of the map to Misfits.
2 towers now for Misfits here. Next one is that mid lane tower. Also have to remember, Rift Hell is still there, and IgNar at the moment, he's landing hooks left and right for this team.
This again.
And this is just a really nice dive from Misfits. They know they need to push the pace. You can't allow Huni to clear out this wave. Maxlore is on the roam up. They know FLICKR was pushed back to base. So Alphari tanking this up, holding the turret as long as he can before backing out. And Maxlore does get the kill there on Huni. SKT fully coming up to the top side. I will say that perhaps the Gnar could have taken one more shot, and that might have actually allowed Maxlore time to get out, but either way, really nice play.
It is Alphari's birthday. You don't tank tower shots on your birthday. He's okay stepping out there. This graph we showed in game 1, we want to show it again because this is exactly how we expected this matchup to look.
Right.
Misfits, the red line, getting ahead early game, but then tend to struggle in the late game. Same thing in this game, especially with the composition.
Exactly, and that's why we keep talking about pushing the pace, keep talking about extending your advantages, because what they have is not enough and will not carry them through to a victory in this game just yet. But the advantages they have now, when you look at this Tristana, backed up by this mid lane Karma, is going to be a lot stronger than Bang on the Kog'Maw, who's just sitting on a wit's end right now. So you need to continually take objectives, get what you can, crack open this mid lane, and then perhaps use that to threaten the inners or set up vision for this Blitzcrank.
PowerOfEvil not rushing Ardensense in the game here, going for a team instead. Very, very powerful when he actually gets to add utility to his team. It's going to be hard to kill anyone from SKT's side, because again, the shielding coming in will be fairly huge. The healing as well added on top of it.
And actually with that extra amp tome, he may just be going towards Luden's Echo, just getting that for the early power spike here. That is a build I've seen quite a lot from solo lane Karmas. It does delay your Arden Sensor a lot as well, but we'll have to see what he decides to go for.
But just value his own damage above what Hansama will actually bring to the table just yet.
And to be fair, in the early and mid game, it's actually an incredible amount of burst with this Mantra Q coming out from the Karma, who has a lot of levels, if you do actually grab that Luden's Echo.
And we also see armor being stacked on Huni's side, so the extra AP damage from PowerOfEvil, of course, again, adds a bit of extra value right there, because otherwise it is all about Hansama's late game damage. Now,
damage spike here. Triforce for FLICKR in the mid lane. He's getting taunted back and forth as PowerOfEvil tries to play the lane horizontally. And that adds a little bit of effect to the fight. If you want to get in, you chase that mid laner down river instead of back to their turret. However, SKT just wants the bot side.
SKT are always trying to cross-map you when they're behind. They know there's a chance they can make a play.
Great hop by Alphari, but that's his distance. Can he gain any more? Just about to Mega Gnar, not in time. They shut him down.
Right here, we had a moment where Misfits were not applying pressure either mid or top lane just yet, and SKT saw an opening to make a play on the bottom side. Alphari was not ready for it, so he gets surprised by the amount of members showing up. Meanwhile now, though, Misfits are trying to get something mid.
SKT rotating back up. Teleport there for Huni.
You do have to be very careful, though. There's not actually a Tristana with them, so we have Hansama pushing on the top side, trying to knock down this turret, but we'll have to run pretty soon here.
A little bit of vision, as well as the IgNar wall just kind of right in the middle to block that sentry that IgNar can be for Hansama to get out safely. And it looks like they are going to be able to drop that now, 29,000 to 26, or 27.
And getting a tier 2 tower here, again, great for Misfits, allows them to push the lanes even deeper towards SKT. Easy access into the jungle. This mid lane tower will die fairly soon anyway. This is the moment we talk about. Look at the minimap. No lane is getting pressured right now by Misfits, so SKT say, okay, we can make the play. There's a small window here, and they go straight for Alphari.
And I think that's just Alphari accepting his death, because the only chance of getting value out of that flash is if you flash immediately. Right. He doesn't use it at all, so perhaps thinking there's just no way he could actually get out.
And it's these situations that are hard to play against because you're not used to a team abusing that tiny little window to then suddenly go kill you in a side lane. Normally teams are sitting really far back on the map when they're this far down and there's a Blitzcrank on the other side. Alphari could easily have stepped away when he knew, okay, there are 3 guys missing, but he's overstayed. And
we do talk about playmaking, and having that flash available for a Gnar can be very powerful. And Misfits gonna group up. They already have this turret low.
And onto Wolf. If they can take the Cosmic Radiance down before it's used, that means SKT is gonna have to back off as well. Good focus, heal down for Wolf.
4 towers down here, good timing for Misfits. There's a Drake alive they can grab, and then they can soon get ready for the setup around Baron. They don't need to kill the Baron in the early game, but they gotta threaten it. So SKT move in to try and place wards, and then you hook them over the wall here from IgNar. He's been very good so far this game. He's been chain feeding his own AD carry, actually, and it's working.
And it's worth pointing out that PowerOfEvil just sat on the Amp Dome. He did get the Ardent Sensor, so this is going to be
He's a
an
team player.
ultra-powerful Tristana. Hansama should be able to finish up his second item here, have that Shiv, have this powerful mid lane Karma at level 12 protecting him. And he's going to have opportunities to win this game, and it's going to come down to just how well can Hansama navigate it. Can IgNar continue finding these picks?
Oh, Hansama going a little too deep for his own good. Or bust your shot backwards, saves him from Peanut. That's also going to be the Cataclysm out, but the flash for Hansama's safety.
It's the exact same setup again. SKT know no one is currently pushing and threatening any turrets in either mid or top lane, so they rush to the bottom lane to find the one guy who might overextend. They did find Hansama. He did stay alive because of the flash and the ulti from Tristana itself, but that's a flash gone now, which might make Hansama hesitate a little bit in the future fights. Bang, though, on his side, is delaying his optimal damage right now by going Wits End first. I don't think he's against enough magic damage to really have to rush a Wits End, but again, he is respecting what PowerOfEvil is doing and also what even the Blitzcrank can actually do with some of the early burst.
Yeah, and I think it's just simply a case of you can afford to build full defensive when you have a massively stronger late game comp, right? When you have this Kog'Maw along with the Corki, when you have this huge front line and this Taric to actually buff them up, as long as you are not falling insanely behind, as long as you are not instantly dying in these team fights, you can begin to take over. And when you have the Tabbies as well as the Wits End, that can sometimes bridge the gap to the Taric ultimate coming down.
Just makes Bang right now not a big threat that Misfits have to care about. And with Baron alive, with the fact you have Maxlore, who is already sitting on quite enough armor on this Sejuani, he can actually tank the Baron. And it is a real possibility that Misfits can do it. And SKT knows this, so they have to fully invest in vision around the Baron to try and prevent Misfits getting an early big objective.
FLICKR towards the top side, Misfits ahead. Having trouble with Barons throughout the group stage here. Now knowing the priority they need to keep on the top side of the map because of what SKT
got Peanut!
Peanut can be able to flag and drag out. Quick silence coming in from IgNar. And it's going to be Hansama going forward, knowing they don't have Peanut for this fight. FLICKR's rotated back around, and they could.
Oh, Hansama's like a flash right there. Mendy couldn't actually flash in and kill Peanut. The jungler could have died straight away. Misfits, though, they're still looking towards the Baron. This is what we want to see. Constant threats around the big objective.
And Peanut is so low. If he comes over here, he could get burst down. IgNar's looking for the hook, but SKT is coming in.
This is going to be the back and forth. Peanut just on the outside. A quick shield coming in and a heal from Wolf. FLICKR's going to split the crew right through the uprights, and he's going to say, walk this way. The team's going to have to meet him on the other side. The cleanse comes out. That's the shot from IgNar. Taken down before Cosmic Radiance. The rest of the team is left wondering, and Misfits is looking at Baron.
I think they're going to call off the Baron. Maxlore is basing. They have Gnar in the bot lane. They know Huni came over, so they're just going to take their win and try to pressure a tier 2 turret. But Misfits is pressing. They are challenging SKT.
And they're using IgNar's Blitzcrank again. The first to go on to Peanut forces the jungler low. Then after the fight here, we see FLICKR trying to do everything he can to stop the Baron. He's trying to just force Misfits away from Nashor here, but instantly, you see the reaction. It's turn, kill FLICKR, and when he thinks he's safe, IgNar gets onto him. I love this play here first from FLICKR to stop the Baron from going down, and he thinks he's safe now. And then IgNar makes the big play.
Just so nice there from IgNar, knowing he needs to be able to get that, and FLICKR,
Shake it off.
unhappy with the results.
Welcome to the EULCS, baby!
That's exactly what IgNar was saying. Ignite still up for him, 0-0-5. Him in his bot lane, full kill participation.
Nice side step, they can turn this around. TV's moving in.
Very, very low. Wolf looking for the dazzle, but he couldn't get Bastion onto Huni, so it's not going to stop any of the damage. SKT is being picked apart.
Huni going way too far forward there. Doesn't have the team in his back pocket. Great side steps from IgNar. They're back on the Baron, but Peanut is alive. We'll see if they can actually navigate this. IgNar's going to be looking for hooks.
Alive and healthy, much more ready to go. He gets pulled in by not his own choice. Peanut goes down. There's no smite fight. Misfits are going to pick up Baron unless FLICKR hits the shot, and that's Maxlore's.
No smite, no feast for SKT. Misfits are playing the game of their lives right now. Massively ahead of SKT. They are pushing down mid lane with a super powerful Tristana looking to knock down inhibitor turrets.
And they're keeping the tempo going here. They're so aggressive with the way they're playing. As soon as Baron spawned, they had all the vision around it. They forced SKT to react, and they keep catching them.
Consistency and confidence. From game 1, they kept going forward. Game 2, they keep going forward. And SKT's base has been broken. 23 minutes in, Misfits delivering the same medicine.
Maxlore and IgNar, the alley-oop there, hits him with the Sejuani ult, perfectly setting up IgNar for the hook. The slam dunk comes in, taking out FLICKR, knocking down the inhibitor. And Misfits are looking so, so good.
If we take a step back to the group stages, when SKT fell this far behind, they were able to delay Barons. They were able to delay their base, getting broken into it. The inhib going down early. They could just keep stalling with defensive vision. This game now, 24 minutes into it, Misfits already secured the Baron, already got the mid inhib, and SKT are trying to force a fight, but they're not ready to fight. They do not want to fight. They want to scale.
Yeah, there's no real need to go for this, and you know, that call is very, very questionable, whether it's the team telling Huni to engage or he thinking he can actually catch a carry and turn around a fight. They did not have the opportunities. This is not, you know, Wolf on Rakan looking for that epic teammate. This is a Cho'Gath running forward and trying to knock someone up.
Rakan was available in the game here, but he wanted the Taric to avoid a Thresh counter pick. Instead, they get a Blitzcrank.
Control around the map for Misfits. SKT coming up on that point in the game when they're very good at turning around, very good at finding a way back in, but Misfits has closed those doors, it seems, so far. Alphari back towards the top side of the map, 4 towards the bottom as Baron is still on Misfits.
Critically, Bank does have his Rage Blade now, so his damage is going to go massively up with that completion, but Hansama is already on 3 items. They have no fear pushing forward, and this turret is going down incredibly fast.
Only thing they have to respect is if Hansama gets caught by the initial engage. But he is on Tristana with Flash. He can jump away from the Jarvan when he goes towards him and just stay safe in the back end. Keep hitting that damn turret.
Minions are not. Still trying to get the damage on. Hansama takes a bit of damage, but they break the second inhibitor turret of the game and don't know if they want to go as far as that. They want pressure on Alphari first before they show a bit more in bot lane.
They're just playing it out so intelligently here. The push and pull with this Gnar, and Hansama super close to knocking down this turret, but he has taken some damage and trying to play respectful to the chance that SKT could engage.
Let's remind everyone that game 1 was 25 minutes long. And
FLICKR pulled straight from the Valkyrie from his package Ultimate coming in from Maxlore. The inhibitor's broken and Sama jumps forward. It is Alphari already coming in from the side of the map, and it looks like they are going to have positioning on the Nexus turret. Flash towards the fountain, Bang stays alive.
Going mega.
Very low and getting down, and it looks like Alphari in the back of the fight. He says, it's my birthday, I'm gonna grab some kills, and that's gonna be a pickup for Sama. The Nexus is gonna be open, and Misfits are going to find the victory in Game 2 over SK Telecom T1.
Do you believe it? The Misfits from Challenger to the world stage, challenging SKT, get destroyed in Game 1, bounce back, making it that much more impressive. FLICKR looks mad. He is not happy with how that game went.
And really, that is the crazy thing, that Game 1 was so one-sided. But suddenly we get the change here from Misfits. They ban away the Galio, they get rid of the Jace. They say, you know what, we can put Karma mid lane. Take a Blitzcrank in bot lane. That's what we want to see from IgNar. We want to see these super aggressive playmaking supports where they can keep forcing.
And how often can you say that it was SKT that looked like they had a little bit of nerves, not flashing the hook in the bot lane, then FLICKR mid lane, unable to flash the Blitzcrank hook as well. Those are not the kind of mistakes you expect to come out of these players ever.
And I actually want to temper how much we think changed. I feel like just that Galio in that Jace changed. And Misfits were still going forward as they did in this game, last game, but without these results.
Exactly, and even with a rough start where Bang picks up 2 kills on the very first tower dive, they know they need to return to the bot lane, do the exact same thing again, but they executed the second time around. And as soon as you kill that first tower, Blitzcrank is unleashed.
Yeah, he really is. And the vision control, I think, was commendable that game as well. Constantly being able to find picks through this Blitzcrank. The objective control was fantastic for Misfits, forcing around the Baron, but not overcommitting. And really, this is a game that they should be very proud of. The question now becomes, what does SKT change up in the draft? Because it's their turn to adapt, and it's their turn to show they have an answer to Misfits.
They went for all the early game or late game champions there. They might just ban away the Blitzcrank last time, but again, these are 5 players from Misfits who's never gone to Worlds before. In a quarterfinal, they get stumped in Game 1, and they bounce back like this in Game 2. Very impressive.
Well, we've said enough. Let's send it over to Dash and the analyst to get their thoughts on how Misfits took a game off the world champs.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I didn't think I'd have to ask that question today, Azael. What will SKT have to adjust in the draft going into Game 3? But before we answer that question, we have to talk about what Misfits has done here in Game 2, because most teams lose Game 1 to SKT in 25 minutes, and there's no bouncing back. And they completely reorient their strategy, come back, and really strike a blow.
And especially in the manner that they lost is the most impressive thing, because it felt so devastating to get early gamed on by SKT when they're the late game behemoths, but they doubled down on it with the Karma mid, which we hadn't seen, one true late game carry, a Blitzcrank to make all the plays, but they did it really well.
I mean, the thing is they almost don't know that they should be afraid. We keep talking about, like, the mentality, you're against SKT, you need to be afraid, play with the nameplates off. Like, Sama, he's pretty much the embodiment of this team. He is only rocket jumping in one direction. We saw him rocket jump, like, many times into some Taric stuns, so maybe, like, pump the brakes on that, but it's just forward all the time. He doesn't know he should be scared, and that's what makes them strong.
The resiliency that we're talking about wasn't just in Game 1, get over that. It was also after a really poor turret dive early. It was the sort of thing that may have actually crashed the momentum. They stuffed up a turret dive and then some, and yet still had strength of conviction, went back to their guns, used what they had after a little bit of a disrespectful draft. I think going for the Taric Kog'Maw just with the information of the enemy AD carry was pretty greedy, and the greed was punished as it was a highlight reel for IgNar in particular on the Blitzcrank.
I mean, no lie, we were pretty much all watching that dive, and I think every single one of us sat back and like, well, that's game, like, next. And that's the thing, like, we're about to see a possible, like, Blitzcrank ban on a world stage. Like, what do you do about that?
I 100% said that after I saw a double kill go over to Kog'Maw within the first few minutes of the game, but it speaks to that mentality you talk about, Chad, for them to come back and say, no, that was the right play. It's the right idea. So let us just execute on it better this time around, and we start to see the kills come through across the map.
Yeah, I think after Game 1 and then after the first failed dive, 9 teams out of 10 tilt and lose to SKT. But Misfits is that unique team. This play as well, it felt like the initial dive wouldn't work because of the Terra call, but IgNar consistently found the hook. Sama understood his damage. He was willing to dive in, and they kept chaining their CC. with the nameplates off, so to speak. They're going for FLICKR. They're willing to try and make the dives onto SKT, and they're getting it done.
SKT thought that if they adjusted their itemization, no Relic Shield, just the Doran Shield start, going for Wit's End for a bit more power, they could get away with the Kog'Maw, but unfortunately, the lane itself was turret taken, the Blitzcrank was unleashed on the map, Peanut was always on the back foot, and the end result was, there was so much space for IgNar to roll in. His accuracy was true, and SKT, it was one by one, basically on the cooldown of a Blitzcrank hook.
And again, it's exactly what we wanted from them. IgNar and a playmaker, breaking the bot lane, snowballing from there. The fact that they kept down, like, everyone's going to look at the Blitzcrank as the important factor here, but it's also the Tristana, because Tristana is able to shove and take those towers so early, and that was the important thing. Breaking the structure, opening it up so Blitzcrank can be that menace on the map, and then continuing to snowball your gold lead by running through all the other towers.
And Jav, these are the gold differentials that kind of more mirror the group stage performances of both of these teams. Now, quite not as impressive as the SKT 9K in 20 minutes as before, but it was enough to get the job done, and the way that Misfits played with their gold lead was quite impressive.
And that was a 10K gold lead 5 minutes later. They continued to layer it on, and we can talk about the Blitzcrank being effective and the Trist being effective, but the Karma mid rounds this together, and the difference between Game 1 and Game 2, as far as FLICKR's presence, was night and day. Galio was unlocked to make plays. This game, FLICKR was not making plays, and he did look angry because he was getting picked off time and time again and couldn't stay alive.
And you know, we have this kind of meme in Korea where we talk about the two junglers, Peanut and Blank. You have to beat Peanut to earn the right to face Blank. We haven't heard the confirmation yet, but seeing
Blank
this
is
game,
coming in.
Seeing this game,
Boom, right on time.
I knew it before then, guys, because seeing this game, the mechanics from Peanut in Game 1 weren't wonderful. Game 2, he was also missing his skill shots. They've earned the right to face Blank. They've earned the right to piss off FLICKR. I'm not going to mince my words. He looked pissed off. He's looked pissed off before and comes back from there. I said that word a lot. But regardless, they've earned the right to actually put the fire under SKT, and that makes Game 3 exciting.
And we talk about the importance of the picks, but we also have to talk about the importance of the players on the picks. And in particular for this game, IgNar on the Blitzcrank was going off. Hook after hook being landed, and it bought them the victory. This replay brought to you by Acer Predator.
And then it's a question of where do you go from here? Are we going to see a Blitzcrank ban? Will SKT try to just prioritize a winning 2v2 bot lane, so if they try to play a playmaker again, that they feel more comfortable going toe-to-toe?
Yeah, and this Blitzcrank was a huge influence on this game. The early game presence of your lanes is also the big swinger in this series. So the arms race of early game is probably what we're going to end up seeing, because you know that Misfits has earned the right to play Blank. But also, a Western team beating a Korean team, let alone SKT in a best of 5, is unprecedented. So I think this is the direction the series is going from here. Misfits got the one way of winning the game. I think they continue going in that direction.
All right, well, I can confirm once again that Blank will be subbing in for SKT. They've also elected to go back to blue side. So if we think back to Game 1, the importance of the Sejuani and the Galio going over to SKT, what kind of adjustments are we expecting to see out of both of these teams now that SKT is just taking a punch to the face?
I know I talked about the bans from Misfits on red side in Game 1. I think finding a way to force SKT off a safe wave-clearing bot laner, this game they felt empowered. We can go Kog'Maw, we'll be fine. It wasn't fine. So something like a Caitlyn in the first one may even be a ban to actually shore up the early game, because the early game arms race is happening in this series.
And it's been so influential that, you know, one team bans Lulu. Usually it's Misfits that starts that, and then they force the Janna ban out of SKT. It's also trying to keep those defensive supports that absorb a lot of this pressure off the playing field. So hopefully they're able to stay strong there.
Teams need to stop showing their duo lane early, because the counter pick down there is incredibly pivotal. That's where these games are being played, and the team with the push that can capitalize around that bottom lane is the one that's winning.
All right, well, hey, not that all of a sudden we need to throw the predictions out the window, but Misfits is showing a lot of fight here. Is this starting to make you a little concerned about the prediction here for SKT, or will they show the composer that they're famous for and bringing it back in the series?
If SKT struggle in this next game, that's when you can start jumping aboard the Misfits hype train. But otherwise, it's still presence in SKT. You know they're going to be that dominant force.
It's gone blue side so far. It's going to go back onto blue side. I agree with you. The manner of the victory here, if SKT does come, if they lose, we're getting into crazy territory, but really need to show us here to also get the players to calm down, because even looking at the face cams, it wasn't great.
Yeah, to save my own tail a little bit, I said it was possible but not probable that Misfits would win a game. This was that possibility. They get the early game draft, they jump out to a huge lead, and they close it before SKT can hit the major power spikes and get control of the game. But if they can get into that 20-minute area with a large enough goal lead to play around Baron, Misfits just proved that's enough to win, which a lot of people coming into this series would not have been willing to agree on that point. So Misfits is absolutely dangerous for SKT, and it's the big reason we're seeing them sub here.
Exactly. Blank getting set up on stage just now. Let's talk about why they sub him in at times, right? We talk about the downloading of the opposing jungler, and if the early game is that important, tracking Maxlore, that important, Blank's now had 2 games of evidence here that he's got in his arsenal to come in and see what he can work with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer that jungle sub is the way to go because you get that information, because pathing can be varied. I think Maxlore is very creative in his pathing, so it's not necessarily one style, but having that information, knowing where the wards largely are, knowing the paths, I think is a big advantage. And Maxlore kind of has to reset in the same way we said about Misfits in Game 2, because there is going to be that information to Blank.
All right, well, Misfits have shown they're not going down without a fight, so join us here after the break for Game 3 of this explosive series. Don't touch that browser.
Gonna be Maxlore going very low. He takes the tank first. First blood going over to Bang. He's still alive, but goes down to the explosive shot.
Back. Corki's moving bot lane.
I go. Okay, you get him and get up.
Fine. Corki's moving bot lane. Pick it, guys. Corki's moving bot lane. Pick it.
I've jumped. Good shit.
Now it's about getting Maxlore out. Can they help him? Cosmic Radiance and Cataclysm down onto him. And SKT get one back, but it's traded right back. Retribution kill. Baker's going to split the crew right through the uprights, and he's going to say, walk this way. The team's going to have to meet him on the other side. The cleanse comes out. That's the shot from IgNar. Taken down before Cosmic Radiance.
Jungle flash. Jungle. Nice.
Bang stays alive.
Going mega.
Very low and getting down, and it looks like Alphari in the back of the fight. He says, it's my birthday. I'm going to grab some kills, and that's going to be a pickup for Hans Sama. The Nexus is going to be open, and Misfits are going to find the victory in Game 2 over SK Telecom T1.
If you want to follow the best of the Rift, then you need T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. We've doubled our coverage, so you can stream worlds in more places than ever before. With T-Mobile, don't miss a moment from the first battle, all the way to the lifting of the Summoner's Cup. Another reason why T-Mobile is America's best unlimited network.